Laws of physics are merely a suggestion. Luck is the last dying wish of those who want to believe that winning can happen by accident. Sweat, on the other hand, is for those who know it's a choice. So decide now, because destiny waits for no man. And when your time comes and 1,000 different voices are trying to tell you you're not ready for it, listen instead to that lone voice of dissent. The one that says you are ready, you are prepared. It's all up to you now. So rise and shine.
Welcome to the grind, the factory for greatness, the process of success, where all excuses are denied. The only credit cards that are accepted here are blood, sweat, and tears. Welcome to the grind, the house of discipline. So we get it in every.
What up? What up? What up?
See, we understand here at the grind that success is not something that you achieve.
We understand.
It's something that you become. We refuse to settle for any other outcome than greatness. The reason we train.
What's up, grinders? What's up?
Some events for some trophies, for some medals. We train because this is our life. And this is all we know. We don't need an event to get ready. We stay ready. This is a lifestyle we live. Preparation is a weapon. And around here, we use that weapon every single day. 24/7, 365, all in, beast mode. Greatness is all we know. And I would like to take this moment and welcome all of you to the grind. Anyone is welcome here. As long as they are willing to die for what they believe. Here at the factory, we don't produce people who accept participation trophies, who come in runner-up, who come in second place. All we produce here at the grind is champions. Around here, we don't accept anyone who even thinks that failure is an option. We don't accept anything other than greatness. We produce warriors who are hungry, dedicated, and fearless. And winning is all they know. Around here, your work ethic, that's your credit score. You can save all that yakking, all that talking. Because we're going to check that credit score, and you're either going to get approved or denied. You can either take your dreams, or you can take the distractions. But you can't take both. Welcome to the grind. Focus is oxygen. And we starve the enemy. The only thing I see is my dreams.
What's up? What's up? Share this out, y'all. Share this out. Let's go.
Unafraid of something. Know your worth. Stop chasing people who don't appreciate you. Unless you control your mind, body, and emotions, the more the world will control you. Your discipline must break your body's spirit until it becomes your slave. And you gotta get back behind the wheel of your mind and steer your thoughts to greatness. Seek the center of what makes you feel the most uncomfortable. Don't run from it. Just stay there until you conquer it. Master your mind.
Master your mind.
Yes.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the grind, man. Of course, the realest show ever. What you trying to do? Put the whole thing out. Tear stuff up.
That's one of them kind of mornings. Just
Right.
tear it down.
The realest show ever, man. Every Tuesday and Friday, man, we get in y'all face just like this, man. We appreciate you guys jumping on and allowing us to sow something into you guys. Remember, Pam and I are the very first partakers of everything that we say. We are not above anything that we say. We practice everything that we say, right? So, man, welcome to the realest show ever, man. We're going to say some things on this show that some people love. We're going to say some things on this show that some people don't like, but that's okay because you got to be in it to win it, baby. Let's say what's up, Pam.
What's up, everybody? Jumping on the grind on this Friday morning, right? Well, it's morning on the West Coast, and definitely y'all are running into the afternoon on the East Coast. But you know what? It's always another great opportunity anytime we have the time and the opportunity to come on here, saying that a lot today, right? To come on here and just to share what's on our hearts on Tuesday and Friday. So we appreciate each and every one of you who jump in and tune in to the grind on our Blog Talk radio platform. We appreciate all the call-in listeners that are listening in. We appreciate all the ones that go back and listen to all the episodes that are out there, you know, on the grind on that platform, and everybody who just jumps on. So how y'all feeling on this Friday? I agree. Master your mind. I tell you something about that audio that just sets you for real on fire. And, you know, one of the things that I really love is, you know, Nate will get up, in the mornings and just really set the atmosphere and the tone in the household. And that's so important, you know, to get up every day and to control your day and to really, set the tone and the atmosphere and the environment, right? As we've talked a lot about environment over the last couple episodes and how important that is, right? With the core and all that good stuff. It's very important, you know?
Super important.
Yeah.
Super important. Here's another thing that I know, you know, I appreciate Pam, you know, she said some good stuff about me and all that good stuff, but today is Freedom Friday.
Yes, it is. So
and we don't have no mimosas.
No mimosas? Oh my gosh. So I slipped.
Yeah, Pam.
Well, you know why?
Pam's job, one of Pam's jobs. She and look, I'm telling her, stop right now before you say it, because this is what this show get ready to be.
No, what I got
stop,
okay.
Because I'm trying to help you here. I'm trying to help you, okay? Because what Pam was getting ready to do was make an excuse.
No, I wasn't.
So, okay, what was you gonna say? What was you gonna say? Go ahead.
Man, I was gonna say maybe I was a little selfish this morning. Because like real talk, I can't be playing games with Nate. You see, I'm on a mission right now. And so my mission.
I play games. Okay.
My mission.
I'm the game player.
Right now, don't include mimosas. My mission right now include this right here.
Because you can't have mimosas. I don't get mimosas.
That's why I said it was selfish this morning.
Wow.
Okay. So, and that's just simply because for real,
wow,
nothing can stop a made up mind. And I realize in this season, no mimosas, no margaritas, none of that. All right, y'all. Because at the end of the day, the only way to change things is to make a decision to change things. And that is where I am this morning. So I do have my cup of coffee, my cup of Delgado, my slimming coffee this morning. I apologize. Would you like a mimosa, baby? Because I was selfish.
The moment has passed. Yeah. I guess I gotta suffer.
Well, you know what? You'll be all right.
But
You headed
that's
to the
okay.
golf course. So
I'll make the
all
sacrifice.
your mimosas and all
I'll
your
make the
good stuff,
sacrifice.
right?
We don't drink mimosas on the golf course.
I know y'all drink a little something else, right?
Look, I let that pass today because
so I was selfish this morning.
She is,
for real, y'all, for real.
Nah, she is on a mission.
Did not have that on my mind. Okay?
And I didn't even think about, honestly, I didn't even think about the fact that you've been around here, you know, working like a crackhead, you know,
got that right.
I'm talking about
playing.
Pam around here boxing and jumping jacks and And I'm talking about
my wife
drinking.
say stand up, baby. I'm
Yeah.
standing up.
Look, she got 17 gallon of water here. You know,
Yeah.
she drinking every day. She ain't playing no more. For real. So now I respect that. I really do.
Right.
I
So
respect
I apologize. I
No,
was
no,
very selfish. this
It's
morning.
all good. But here's the other piece. If I would have realized how dedicated you were, I probably would have got up and got my own doggone mimosa and not made you make it. You know, so I do understand. So I digress. And you know, it's all a part of what we do, man. But she does have a made up mind. And
Y'all
you
know my mind made up when I cut out a margarita. Okay.
Right. Yeah, my mind is made up. Nothing can stop a person that has become unstoppable, right?
Right, go ahead. I
So
ain't
habits and rituals, as they say, is what create champions.
playing. Yeah.
So, man, this is what this show is all about. And, you know, I hear my man, Billy Allsbrook, you know, and he talks about, you know, the mindset and things a lot. He talks about, you know, getting your mindset right, making sure that, you know, everything is good, man. And I
Right.
heard him say something very, very powerful. He said that circumstances are born out of a consciousness that allows them to exist. Y'all should write that down because I did.
Wow.
Circumstances are born out of a consciousness that allows them to exist. And if you don't learn anything else today, if you don't catch anything else today, you should catch that. Circumstances are born out of a consciousness that allows them to exist. And what does that really mean? You know, in my mind, that says, you know, things are going to happen to me, but I don't have to let them take root. I don't have to let them, you know, permeate in my spirit, in my soul, in my consciousness, so that it takes me off my game. Right? Circumstances. That means things are going to be presented to you
Right.
that may not be in alignment
Right.
with what you have. So with what you're trying to do, I was thinking about something else at the exact same time. Tell you my mind runs. I was thinking about a reference at the exact same time, and then I was telling myself, is that appropriate to say on this show? And then I said, no.
So,
This
so
is
you
the-
blocked that thought
I had
out?
to block that. I had to block that out because
I can
this
only
this
imagine.
is the realest show ever, but we ain't got that real yet. So I'm gonna have to. I curtailed that one, but
No telling
nonetheless,
what just came up in that mind.
yeah, because my mind thinks on a lot of different levels. But
Right.
when you're going down that path, if you know the circumstances are not indicative of what you're trying to get to,
Yeah.
then you got to know how to not let those circumstances catch root. And that's kind of what we want to get into talking about today, which is the fight. Is the fight of what you do, things that happen to you every single day. It's the fight. Are you fighting? What are you doing? It's the circumstances that are happening to you every day. Because one thing that I absolutely know right now is that people are doing a lot of fighting. There's a lot going on in the world, and
Sure
people are fearful right now. Some people are super confident because they know that, you know, they've been doing what they should have been doing, you know, before all of this stuff happened. But those people are still cautious. Right. There's a healthy level of caution that you should have in your life. The only thing, the only person, the only outset, the only circumstance, the only thing that I fear, period, is God. Right. So other than that, there is no fear. The circumstances that come in your life, they create I guess a environment of the unknown, because you never know when it's going to happen. But I also heard my man say, you know, that you don't have to, you don't, as if you're going to be great, you never have to get ready. You stay ready, right? You stay ready. And we talk about that all the time, about how what you put in comes out, right? And sometimes, man, you have to tap into that well. All the time you tap into that well. But here's another thing that I know and I absolutely appreciate, guys. There was a moment in my life where I was listening to a ton of personal development. I was cutting my teeth, man, to really sow into the lives of people. And that's been for the last, 10 years or so. And, everything that I heard, they had one synonymous aspect to it. And that is, it was not mine. It was not the original. It wasn't me. And I believe we may get to a point, or people may get to a point in life to where they don't think that they're enough. They don't think that their originality is good enough to create. And, Pam will tell you, when I'm in a zone, when I'm really in a zone, when God starts in a zone, really just simply means God is pouring into me. And I know you guys go through that. I'm not the only person that goes through it. But when God starts to pour into you, that's what I call the zone.
Right.
Right. So when that's happening, which is, most of the time now, because I'm going to talk about that here in a moment, being that conduit, what it takes to be that conduit. But when that happens, I don't want to hear anything external.
That's true.
I don't want as profound as other people may be when they're talking and when they're sharing their reality. I don't want to hear it at that moment.
Right.
And if that makes sense to you guys, then it does. But if it doesn't, let me explain it. Okay. It's when you're getting here, right? When you're getting it from here, then you want to make sure that you keep that conduit open, because no matter how good something else may be, and then it comes in and interjects into that, it blocks the conduit. And it's the same with circumstances. Again, I say circumstances are born out of a consciousness that allows them to exist. What's my goal? Where am I going? What do I see? What's in front of me? How am I trying to get to it? I'm trying to get to it unimpeded, right? The best thing that a lineman wants on the defense is for the offensive lineman to step aside and let him get to the quarterback, right? But typically that's not going to happen. There's always resistance. But in your mind, you have to create that path of least resistance to get to what you want. And unless you know what you want, you first have to define it. Once you define it, now you can get to it, and you have to make sure that that path is unimpeded. So when I'm getting it direct and I want an atmosphere of nothing but food, nothing straight, I want to get it straight. I don't want to hear anything else.
Right.
It's like you start interjecting other things into at that moment. And I'm cool with the talking aspect. If somebody comes up to me and they say something to me and they ask me a question, I hear that. That's no problem. I get that. But I'm talking about anything that stunts my creativity, because God gives it to me the way he wants me to give it. He gives it to Pam the way he wants Pam to give it.
Right.
All right. It's not for Pam to talk in the same voice that I talk in, or say the same words that I say, or any of that. I don't originate those words. They're universal,
Right.
But it's how you do it that matters.
Absolutely.
So how are you fighting? Your fight really is truly not in the physical. Your fight is in the spiritual. So if your fight is in the spiritual, then that simply means that what you're doing, you're fighting every day. It sounds like a very, very abrasive thing, but you're fighting every day to keep that open, clear conduit between you and God, so to make sure you get everything you're supposed to get. So what are your circumstances and how are you fighting against them?
And that's good that you share. But before I even respond to that, I just want to know, is something funny going on with like are you live? Because I'm noticing that like our
it's not working.
It's our phones are like timing out on IG. So then it's pausing it. So I'm just wondering what the deal is with that. Like our phones are blacking out. Yeah, you need to go live again. I don't know what that is. But in response to that, that's so important, because when you are in the zone, you have to, for me, what I call that turning off the noise. Because you have to be able to turn off the outside voices in order to be able to hear the voice from within, in order to be able to get the guidance that's necessary in order for us to be able to make the moves that's necessary to get ourselves to the next level, in order to be able to do the things, in order to be able to, push through the different things that we're going to have to go through. Is really the preparation that's necessary for the journey that we're about to be on. So, you have to get very good at, turning off the noise, putting yourself in the zone. And it's something about when you get in the zone, right? And you turn off all the noise that should not be allowed to come in, to where you're able to, for real, become unstoppable. You're able to really focus on the goal, focus on the vision, in order to move that thing to the next level, in order to, get from point A to point B. But many times we allow the outside noise to creep in, right? And when that outside noise begins to creep in, then what happens is we're not prepared for the circumstances. We're not prepared for the challenges that are ultimately, there's always, anytime you are going to the next level or doing something different, you have to realize that the challenges are always going to come, right? But it's in the zone to where you're able to build yourself. It's in the zone to where you recognize the gifts and the talents and the qualities that you have within, that you need to grow and to focus on in order to be able to handle those things. Because it's not about what happens to us in life, right? It's about how we handle the different situations that come our way. So it's in the zone. When you zone in, nothing, absolutely nothing can shake you. Nothing can break you. nothing can move you. You become unmovable, unstoppable, and you know what? And now you're able to really dig in, but how do you get yourself to the point, to where you're able to do that, because that's not an easy thing, for everybody to say, I'm just going to turn off the noise. Right. So, how do you get yourself to the point to where you're able to deal with the different battles, deal with the different challenges, and to really put yourself in the zone so that you can focus on, what's at hand and the very thing that you want to accomplish. And I mean, you said it in the very beginning. It's all about the mind. It really is. It's all about mastering your mind and controlling your mind and realizing that once you take control of your mind, right, you got the power to control this thing. You have the power to build this thing up. And if you don't build your mind up on an everyday basis, if you don't build up your spiritual man on an everyday basis, right, because this, just like you said, it's a spiritual battle, right? Circumstances are born out of the consciousness that allows them to exist. This is a spiritual battle for real. It's you versus you. And when you understand that, and now you recognize that, and you work on your spiritual man every single day, you work on your mind every single day, what's going to happen is now you have the strength, right? You have the power. You recognize the armor that you got every single day in order to fight, just like you said, to fight the battles that are going to come our way. You see, the battles for real, they already won. But it's all about how are we going to look at these battles, right? Are we going to zone in? Are we going to focus on the battle? Are we going to focus on the victory? All right? When you begin to focus on the victory, then guess what? That's where you become unstoppable. You don't worry about what you got to go through to get to the victory. Instead, you understand that it's a part of the process. And you know what? Through that process, you're going to become stronger, so that now you are the person that you need to be when you get to the other side.
Absolutely. And it's about getting to the other side. It's a journey. So we talk about so many trigger words on here, right? The theme of the show is pretty much the same every day, right? It's all about self-help. It's all about understanding where you are and where you want to go and getting there. Right. So, but let's break this thing down. We're at the bridge. Let's go ahead and cross the bridge, because when you hear all of this thing, we get kind of programmed to hear this stuff and kind of, we bring it in, and then we get, you guys get good at you say it, but the key is living it, right? The key is living it, and to live it, I mean, you have to go through some things, and you got to understand how to fight when you're going through. Right. They say that the mark of a champion is not somebody that's never been beat, but a true champion is a person that's been beat and they got back up and they fought back to the top. Right. That's a true champion. So think about situations and circumstances right now that you're allowing to permeate your consciousness, and they've taken root, and it's keeping you from actually getting back up and moving back to the top. Right. Because here's one thing I know. Anybody that has ever been to the top of anything, and you've been, at the top of the heap, or you've been a top 5, top 2, top 3, whatever it is, you've been there and you fall back down, you never, ever, ever feel the same until you get back there. That's right. Right. So you're either going to do one of two things. You're either going to do what it takes to fight back to the top, right, or you're going to give up because you think it's going to take too much to get there. Right. And it happens every single day with people, because what I know is that, people get to those circumstances and they just start making those excuses that say, well, I did it once, I'm cool. I used to be this and I used to be that. And guys, it happens, right? I was once this. I've seen people do whole shows based on just whole commentaries based on who they were. Right. And if you've accomplished, not who they are, huh? Not who they are, it's who you were. If you've accomplished everything that you wanted to accomplish in life, then cool. And then I'm not talking about the people that have retired. Right. Okay. I'm not talking about the people that were at the top of the game. I'm not talking about the greats like MJ and Reggie Miller and all of the great football players that have retired, and all of the sports, whatever it is, all of the great singers, dancers, opera singers, whoever, all of them that have been at the top of their game, they left at the top of their game. Right. And I think that's really man, that's admirable when you think about it, because most people say, well, just go until you can't go anymore, right? When you're dependent upon what you're in, right, you're always going to, like, you can take people like Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan loved the sport of basketball so much that he left at the top of his game. And then he came back because he missed the camaraderie. He missed the crowd. He missed the sport. He is a basketball junkie, right? But when he came back, here's the thing about it. When he came back, Pam, he came back, and he wasn't the old person.
Right.
He wasn't the Michael Jordan at the top of his game. But guess what? His legacy was so fire to a point to where you cannot deny anything that he did now.
Right.
He could miss 10 baskets in a row. They could say, you know what? He's not the Michael Jordan he used to be, but what he created, you cannot deny.
You can't deny it.
You can't deny. So mentally, you don't remember the Michael Jordan that's at the bottom of his game, or even the Michael Jordan that's 8 times better than the person at the top of their game, right? And I know some of you guys are going to, I'm thinking like, Michael Jordan's not the best, not the greatest of all time. I believe that he's not either, right? I don't think he's the greatest of all time. It's a lot of people that are the greatest of all time. Depends on the person, the situation. But at the end of the day he left at the top of his game, and his legacy was so intense that when he came back, because he loved the sport, he got so much respect that, guess what? He was undeniable. So when you think about your life right now and what you're going for, think about the circumstances that are impeding you right now from getting what you need to get. And you're allowing it to. You're actually allowing it to. And as a matter of fact, you've given it a seat at the table, right? You've made it a bed when it finishes working on you, gave it a nice pillow, right? And you're good to go. You're like, I love the fact that I can make these excuses and I don't feel guilty. I don't feel bad about myself, because I'm telling myself that it's okay that I'm average. It's okay that I'm mediocre because of this, and the other. And I made the example earlier. I wasn't throwing Pam under the bus, but I really didn't remember that she was actually on a grind like that. I should have known. But I made that reference early, and I said, wait, before you say anything, don't make an excuse, right? Don't make an excuse. The first time somebody tells you, well, where were you? What happened to you? You look in your mind. It's like you need an excuse.
Right.
Absence from school, right? Mommy got to write you a note.
Yes.
That says, I'm sorry, such and such went to the doctor. This is what happened, right? And
Excuse
but
note.
if that's an excuse, that works for kindergarten kids and high school kids. That's cool, right? They give them so many excuses, right? But it doesn't work in real life.
No.
It doesn't work for adults. When you don't do something, here's the thing. I'm not saying that you're always going to get it right. But when you don't do something, don't make an excuse because you didn't do it, right?
Own up to it.
Own it and say, you know what? I missed
own
it.
it.
I'm sorry. I missed it. But but here's the thing. When you think about it before you talk about it, now you can assess that, because the first thing we look to do, the first habit we have is making an excuse for our shortcomings. When somebody says, well, you said that, in 90 days from now, you're going to be unrecognizable. Mentally, physically, financially. They weren't going to, you said that on social media. You got up and you made this big speech. Watch me, give me 90 days, watch me work. 90 days rolls around, you're the exact same person that you were. But the first thing you say is, well, what had happened was,
Right.
No, I missed it. I allowed my circumstances to derail me from getting to my vision, from getting to what I said I would do. And if you think about it, when somebody asks you, like I said, if I asked Pam something simple, hey, baby, where are the mimosas? Pam gave me that was her reasoning. She was like, hey, I don't want no mimosas right now. I'm trying to get rid of some stuff, not gain some stuff, right? So I had to respect that. You're right. Yeah, I said, you're right. I should have got it myself. But you know what it did? It immediately diffused a situation.
Right.
Right. So think about it in life. It's the same exact thing. When you haven't done what you know you should be doing, then own up to it. But don't just keep owning up to the same old crap. And that makes you average, because everybody does that. But everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die. That's what the Marines say. Everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die. Everybody wants to be successful, but nobody wants to make a sacrifice.
That's good.
And the two, just there's a give and there's a take. I'm sorry.
Absolutely.
It's
You
just
go
the
hand
it's
in
just
hand.
the way that it is. And I want you guys, everything that you guys hear Pam and I say, because I'm not gonna worry about that no more because it's doing its own thing right now.
Yeah, I don't know what.
Yeah. So everything that we say, guys, we don't say, as you said at the beginning of the show, we don't say it because we don't apply it. Some of the things we say, we write down, we'll say, okay, we need to put that in because some things on the show we get direct right on the show. Right. And it's the same thing as you're going through life. Some of you overthink things, you overanalyze things. Right. If somebody says, we'll do this. So you immediately go into analytical mode and you break it down and you figure out a reason as to why you can't, as opposed to why you can.
Right.
It's why you can't as opposed to why you can. And it's just like focusing more on the solution and not the problem. If you guys see the recurring theme here, if you switch, give you guys a cliche, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Right? So we can throw out all of these great cliches time and time and time again. But if you don't apply the principle of them to your life, it doesn't matter. And you're not going to always have it all together. Things are going to be very uncomfortable because with success, there comes sacrifice. Right. So if you're trying to get something and do something and be something, then you have to come up with more reasons as to why you can do it, as opposed to why you can't. Because if that list is skewed in the can't, then automatically you haven't created the E times E equals A. Right. Your energy times your environment equals your atmosphere. You haven't created the atmosphere for you to be successful, yet alone anybody else around you. That's why your business isn't growing. That's why because your business is growing because you're not growing, right? Just in general, you don't just say you have a franchise right now, right? If you have a franchise, if you have a Starbucks, a Chick-fil-A, whatever it is, not even so much as entrepreneurship in a non-traditional way, like network marketing, right? Just say you got a business, and if your energy about that business is off, then the atmosphere is going to be jacked up.
Right, the business is not going to grow.
It's not going to grow, right?
I mean, that's just point blank, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's just so true. When you really think about the energy that's necessary to take anything to the next level, it has to be on point in order for it to grow. But it's so easy to allow ourselves to fall into that place of comfort, right? And we have to realize that if you're comfortable right now, right? If you have some goals, you have some dreams right now, and you're comfortable, there's no pressure. There's nothing stretching you to the next level. There's nothing, where you have to now, do something that you may, in the back of your mind saying, well, I've never done this before, then that's a problem. Okay, because what has happened is you've allowed yourself to fall into a place of comfort. And we have to realize, for real, as we talk about all the time, being comfortable is mediocrity. Okay, but we talked about the other day about, unlocking our phenomenal. Our phenomenalism, right? That's a word. I guess it's a word, but unlocking phenomenal, right? Okay. Right? And so, but in order to really move in that thing, you cannot allow yourself to get into that comfort zone, because for real, in so many different ways, it's not just your broke zone financially, but it's your broke zone spiritually, mentally, every aspect, emotionally. So you got to you got to push yourself out of that thing and not allow yourself to get into that place. But it's a daily grind. It really is. And if you slip on that, what's going to end up happening as we talk about the zone and the fight and all of that, that's how things begin to creep back in. Because of the fact that you've allowed those circumstances, those things to kind of, take you off of the focus, and to really realize that, this thing is all about the stretch. This thing is all about the pressure, because that's how diamonds are created, right? Under pressure, right? So therefore, we got to go through the grind. We got to go through the fight. We got to go through the challenges. We got to go through the circumstances, and we got to learn how to handle them. Because that's who we realize who we are, that's where our strength comes from. Right. But too many times we allow ourselves to get comfortable. Okay, because I could say I've been there and done that, where you get comfortable and you're just like, okay. And what happens is you cannot unlock anything phenomenal in a comfort zone. You cannot walk in the greatness that you were created to be in a comfort zone. You're just like everybody else when you're in a comfort zone. But when you make up your mind to be different, right? You make up your mind to be unrecognizable. You make up your mind that, you know what, no matter what, okay, I'm going to get this thing done. And you're in the zones where you turn off all the noise. Now that's where you really recognize for real who you are, what you got on the inside of you. And that's going to be the very thing that's going to be the foundation at the next level, because you got to be ready. Can you handle it? For real, you got these goals, these dreams, these, everything that you desire to have, but are you ready? That's the key. Are you ready? Can you handle it? And so, but it's the preparation that we all have to go through every single day that's going to prepare us, as long as we embrace it and allow ourselves to be stretched and put up underneath that fire.
Yeah. And there's just so many ways we can put that and spin it. But when you think about, I believe that success has 3 parts to it, right? There are 3 parts to success, and everything Pam just said is, I believe, it encompasses all 3 of these parts, right? So the first part is decision, right?
Absolutely.
Once you make a decision to do it, right? That's the key. Once you say, I'm gonna make a decision and I'm gonna do this, and a lot of people can make decisions all day. They'll be like, I'm gonna do it. Yeah, I want to do that. Yeah, I'll be a part of that challenge. Yeah, that boom, boom, boom. You made a decision to do it, but in a lot of cases, what is you've gotten so accustomed to being easy on yourself and whisper sweet nothings in your own ear that you just quit whenever you want to quit on a decision that you committed to. Right? A decision is a commitment to whatever you did. Right? I decided to do this. That was a commitment. Right? The second part of that is the application. The application. Right? Because you make this decision in an environment that with an energy that creates an atmosphere for you to apply what's necessary. So decision and the application, and then there's the results, right? Decision, application, results. And those 3 phases of success, people get to a point where they're like, I made a decision and now I should see the results. No, there has to be application. The application part of this is everything that Pam just talked about coming together, right? You pressing through, you understanding, okay, let me pull all of this stuff together. I know it sounds like a lot. And you're telling in your mind, I've analyzed every piece of it. They say, I got to have this many of this and that many of that, and boom, 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 boom. It's crazy. But when you think about it, it's everything that you hear, the fire, being close, being pressing yourself. All of this stuff has to be contingent on something that you control, which is you. Right? Because people get into this thing to where they do what they do for everybody else. Right? You got to do what you do for you. Right? and I'm proud of Pam because I heard her say this morning. She said, I was selfish this morning. And we teach that here. We were like, hey man, there's a point in your life where you're going to have to be selfish. Right? And here's what I know. I remember telling Pam, I said, hey, babe, I'll set all of this stuff up. If on Fridays, you just get the mimosas, right? Pam said, forget the mimosas today. Nah, forget that. I ain't trying to have no mimosas. I ain't trying to look at Nate drink no mimosas. None of that, right? So she made a decision that's going to benefit her, as opposed to saying, I started to do it. I started to do it, but then I realized that such and such said they needed me to do this, and yada, yada, yada. Such and such is always going to tell you they needed it to do something. Right. But make a decision. And it's a point where you got to get selfish for your own well-being, for your own success, for your own climbing of the ladder. Yeah. And we've always said, ask that question, what's your number? And guys, that's a very powerful question.
Yes. They ask me that all the time.
Yeah, I'm like, what's your situation? Because
actually, what is your number here, lady? You know, and it's good. I love it because, he keeps me on my toes, because sometimes, it could take so many different hits before, I actually get it. And he's like, listen, what's your number in this situation? When you're going to take control of it? And, and that really is, how we have to look at things. But, and just listening to you talk about the 3 parts of success, for real. And, IG is driving me crazy. I don't know what it is doing today. But, the decision part. No, you think?
Mhm.
It never does that though. The decision part, the application part, and the results part, all these shake hands. And you know what? And you can't get to the results without the decision, right? You can't get to the results without the application. So when you understand that these three parts are very important when it comes time to creating a success, then there are no excuses. You
Right.
see, you can't make excuses. See, successful people are quick to make a decision. They're slow to turn back. But a lot of times people make decisions, right? And then they allow them circumstances to creep in and they never make it to the application part, right? But then they wonder why there's no results. Right, been there, done that. Okay, I've been there, done that for real. In life in general, in many situations and many opportunities, allowing people, right, when you're not in the zone, to come in to implement their thoughts, their opinions, on the situation. And now you look up and the very thing that you believed in, you no longer believe in because you allow somebody to come into your space, to your environment, because you didn't have control of the environment. I'm speaking from the heart right here, okay? Because this was me not having control of my environment, not realizing who I am, not taking the time to grow me and to empower me. Then you look up and you all over the place. Okay. And it's no longer about the plan that God has for you. It's about the plan that everybody else got, because you've allowed so much stuff to creep in until you make a decision to take control. So today wasn't about, even though it's, the mimosa thing, it wasn't about an excuse. No, it was about a decision that I made, a decision that I made. In the past, I made excuses. Oh, baby, I'm sorry. You're right. I was supposed to go get them mimosas. But today, no, I had a made up mind. I decided.
Glad to know she didn't forget. She just said, I ain't doing it.
I didn't forget.
That was a decision.
That was a decision I made, right? And so I made a decision. So in order for me to see some results, I gotta do the application piece, right? That's the part in which I'm zoned in. I'm focused. I'm committed. There are no excuses. I don't care what nobody got to say. I don't care how many times my phone rings or what what is planned out, mapped out in my calendar, in my schedule, for me to apply the necessary things that are going to get me the results. All right. And so therefore, it's a commitment. It's all about the commitment. So no excuses today. It was a decision. Just like Nate said, stop making excuses. Decide. And when you decide, do the application, and then you'll get the results. But if you're not willing to do the application, you can't be mad at the results that you're not going to get. Right?
How long does it take? That's the thing. You can't be mad. That's true, because you get out what you put in.
Absolutely.
But how many times does it take for a person to get it? And that's what's your number mean. And you ask yourself that question every day. What's my number? What's my number? And, if you've got goals and a vision, then you can look at how long it's taken you to get to that vision and how many times your goals have been reset. And it's the small things every day, right? When somebody said something that is something that you need to do, do you actually do it? Or do you make an excuse as to why you shouldn't, why you can't do it?
Right.
And I believe that it is, guys, it's not going to be easy.
No,
right?
Not.
Yeah, people are going to people will generally shoot their regular, and it is not their fault, right? It's your fault.
Absolutely.
If you don't know what you need to do to get where you need to be. For me, guys, honestly, Pam and I, we build, a network marketing business together, right? We build this business together, but we ebb and flow, right? We ebb and flow. And there's certain things that I do, and there's certain things that Pam does, right? And you may not see me.
Talents and gifts.
Right, exactly. You may not see me, but I'm there and I'm doing things. You may not see her sometime, but she's there. She's doing things. It's about that trench work. Even for me, even now at this phase, in my vision, I'm trying to launch a national brand right now. That's a lot of my focus is going on launching a brand. And there's more to that than I thought it was going to be, in order to do it the right way. Right. In order to do it with the marketing and all of the right players in place and the people there's a lot, guys. So that's what I'm engulfed in right now. But what's your vision for you? Have you written it out? I've written mine out. I know exactly what it is, right? What's your vision and how you get there? You may not have all of the answers, and we've talked about that,
Right.
Pam, but at least you start. You know, you started somewhere, and as you start to go through that process, more things come to light as to, ooh, this is how this is happening. Okay, well, this circumstance here, let me ebb and flow because it is the very thing, because my brand is the very thing that I teach, even on this show, right? It's the very thing that Pam teaches. Pam has her own brand, Creative for Greatness. That's Pam's brand. Mine is IAO. My brand is what I talk all the time. There is no middle ground. It's either that or nothing with me. So if you're not your brand, then who are you?
Right.
If you're not working towards something, then what are you working towards? Right.
Absolutely.
So what is your goal? What's your vision? And your vision is there. And now you're looking at all these circumstances are there before you get there. And it has detoured you. There's an impedance of you getting where you need to be. And you've allowed that circumstance to birth in your consciousness. And they keep compounding,
Right.
And you keep allowing it birth more circumstances.
Right.
So people are like, oh, you did this, you're gonna do. No, that's not what I'm looking right now. Where I'm looking right now, that's not in the path for what I'm trying to do. Because I know that I want to cut time. Right. I could launch, and it's already taken 10 years. Right. So I'm like, no more. Right. I could launch, and you could launch something right now, and it can take a year, or it could take 10 years. It's all dependent upon this statement right here. Circumstances are birthed out of a consciousness that allows them to exist. And my consciousness doesn't allow anything to exist. Here's the baseline that you create for yourself. And this is why I love what Pam said earlier. You know, I got selfish, because when you get to that mode, you selfish, things start to happen.
Yep.
Right. It's like, man, you're like, oh crap, heck, this is done. Right. Here's what I love about it. When you create a baseline for yourself, right? A baseline. That means here's what I'm going to do, and here's what I'm not going to do, right? Here's what I like, and here's what I don't like. Here's what I want to do, and here's what I'm not going to do. All of these baselines that you create, it gets you in an area to where now people understand who you are. The first thing that they're going to say is that, oh, you're being selfish. Thank you.
Right.
Yeah, I'm being selfish right now, because you need to control you and take care of what you got going on, instead of looking at me. You call me up saying, you know, it's just like, you know, every morning, you know, it's just funny because I'm gonna use my parents for an example. Every morning, my dad gets up and make my mom's coffee.
Yes, he does.
Every morning makes her coffee. As a matter of fact, he cooks.
Don't
the
let
food.
him not make it.
Yeah, and he'll cook the food, and he'll give, bring, because he knows what he wants her to eat. Right. Because she hasn't made that decision yet, but now she has. Right. So he brings her coffee every morning. But if you don't bring, he don't bring that coffee, she's like, where's my coffee?
Right.
You know, and I'm gonna tell you guys something. This is, and Pam will I guess she'll confirm this, guys. I tend to be very self-sufficient.
Definitely is
very self-sufficient, and
that's
have
to do for Nate.
Yeah, and it's not that I don't want Pam to do for me, because there are things that I do want Pam to do. But at the end of the day, there's nothing that I want Pam to do for me that I can't do for myself. If you understand. So like getting up every morning, and if I make Pam a cup of coffee on Monday and Tuesday, and Pam expects that cup of coffee on Wednesday, that's a problem.
That's a problem, right?
That's a problem.
And that's how we ebb and flow, though.
Oh yeah.
So when we do something for each other, we appreciate it, but it's not expected. If that makes sense. So you're right, and there are moments in which Nate will come up here, baby, you go your cup of coffee, and I appreciate it. But I'm not like the next day, like, but this man ain't make my cup of coffee.
Right? Where's my coffee?
You know, or I may make his, and he's not saying, or you know, and so therefore, and that's kind of how we ebb and flow. And it works perfectly, you know, for us to be like that. Absolutely. It works. But that, relationship tip 101, as be self-sufficient in a relationship, and allow it. What that does is it gives that person the ability to follow their own dreams, right? It gives them the ability to be the person that they were created to be, not your servant. Right. So people have done that for years in their life, to a point to where,
now they forgetting to do for themselves.
Mhm.
They're a wreck mentally, they're a wreck physically,
Mhm.
and then, so now they're a wreck financially. And now you look at it and you're totally dependent on somebody to do everything for you. And I've never been that way, and I know people that are though. And it goes hand in hand, guys, with getting into that comfort zone.
Mhm.
So for me, when people expect me to do things, it's something that I'm already doing, right? Because sometimes people will say, people ask, well, think Nate will do that, and Pam will say, no, Nate's not doing that. Nate's not doing that, Or if somebody asks me, you think Pam will do that? No, Pam's not doing that.
Right.
Because I know what her baseline is.
Right.
I know what she's drawn those lines in the sand, and she's like, hey, this is what I'm going to do, and this is what I'm not going to do. Right. So if you do that, what happens is, and think about it, this is how this works. Okay. Circumstances are birthed out of a consciousness that allows them to exist.
Mhm.
Okay. This is how this works. That allows them to exist.
Allows. That's
that
the key word.
allows them
That's the
to
key
exist.
word.
So what does that
Allows.
mean? If you create baselines for yourself based on what your goals are, based on what your vision is, then guess what? If what you're doing is this way and whatever else on the outside doesn't fall in the path of that, right? If you don't see it and somehow you say, okay, well, I can take the time to do that because I may be ahead of schedule, or I can take the time, then fit it in. But if it sets you back, right, I will allow nothing to get in the way of me making my dreams a reality. Right. Nothing. So if getting in the way means it's impeding you from achieving what you said you would achieve in the time frame that you said you would achieve it.
Mhm.
And when you get selfish to that point, then now we get back to that point, Pam, where people say, well, I just want to be able to help other people. You can, right? God called you to help as many people as you can. But when you start working the things that God gave you and working on your skill set, working on your consciousness, your thumbprints, when you start working on that, then what happens? You start rising, you start elevating,
Absolutely.
and more people can see you, more people can be inspired. And now you have a roadmap for something other than just compromise.
Absolutely.
Right. And that's and I'm not trying to create a whole mess of people that just don't want to do for other people and this and that, but I'm just trying to create people that a mindset in a person that says, man, I know that I have dreams, I have goals, right? Just as you go, it's amazing how the thumbprint works, because man, everything, even on your cell phones, you can put your thumbprint on that cell phone and nobody else is getting in it without your thumbprint. I don't care what they're doing. I think that's pretty doggone amazing. Right. You go down you can go down and get arrested and put that thumbprint there and they got you for the rest of your life. Nobody else can be identified with your thumbprint but you. Right. They got doors now where you hit that thumbprint and you get into your house. Right. Imagine they got gun vaults where you got a thumbprint. Imagine if everybody could duplicate your thumbprint. It's not duplicatable. So there's something that only you are supposed to do, and that's just the way I spin it. That's the way I see it.
No, that's real good stuff. You're absolutely right. And when we realize that, there are things that we're called to do individually, okay, and that's really our purpose. And so you have to put yourself in that mode to where you become selfish, because if you don't work on you every single day, if you don't grow you can't help anybody else. So you got to help yourself, right?
Right.
Just like they tell you on an airplane, you got to put that oxygen mask on yourself first before you help anybody else. And so when we understand that's powerful, work on you. So there are those moments in which you got to get selfish. You got to cut some things out, and you have to make sure that you are putting yourself in the zone in order to be able to hear, in order to be able to do, in order to be able to grow, so that now you can give out of the overflow. We talk about that all the time, and not giving people what you need, okay,
Right.
what's necessary for you, because then you find yourself depleted. All right. And now you're trying to figure out what's going on because you're not moving, you're not growing, you're not advancing like you want to, because you're giving people what you need. Okay. But the only way for you to have what you need, the only way for you to be able to give others, what you're supposed to be able to give and to be the example that you need to be in life, then you have to work on you. It's a daily grind, for real. You got to get selfish.
Live full, die empty.
Yeah,
Live full,
absolutely.
die
Live
empty.
full, die
Don't forget
empty.
to live
You have
while you're
to.
living.
Yeah.
And I'd rather sacrifice for 3 years, Pam, as opposed to a lifetime.
Absolutely.
And I believe that's what we talk about.
And
when
that's
we talk
big.
about
People don't
compressing time.
understand.
Yeah.
We have to understand sacrifice for real.
Compress
and when we
that
begin
time.
to understand sacrifice, and you go hard, like that's what we teach every day. Go hard, go all in. Don't just join the team. Doggone it, get off the bench and get in the game, right? Which means if you're in the game, you got to fight. If you're in the game, it means you got to make some plays. If you're in the game, that means you got to get up every single day and you got to make a decision to run. If you're in the game, you got to say, hey, pass me the ball or whatever it is. If you're in the game, you have to do something, right? It's not sitting back watching. And too many times we sit back in life and we watch things happen and we're not doing the things that God is telling us. He's saying, make some plays, make some moves. What are you going to do about the thing that you want to see happen in your life? All right. It's not time to sit on the sidelines. There'll be that time. But right now you got to go in and you got to go all out in order to get it done.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. So, the theme today, guys, and we're gonna wrap this thing up because the theme today, guys, is, I keep making the statement because this is all about circumstances and how you handle them, right? Circumstances are birthed out of a consciousness that allows them to exist.
That's good.
So that says you have
Keep
to
saying
create the right circumstances,
So good.
right? Energy times environment equals atmosphere, right? So you got to create those right conditions, and once you do that, things really do kind of. Once you create those baselines, those are baselines. Energy times environment equals atmosphere. Those are all baselines for what you want. Make it conducive to where you want to go. Once you create those baselines, then guess what? People start to understand who you are and what you stand for, right? Because another cliche, the old one is, if you don't stand for something, you fall for everything, right? So I can promise you that you got to have. I have a roadmap. I know where I want to go. I know when I want to get there. And you put the players in place that actually understand that roadmap, right? They get it. They say, I'm in alignment with that roadmap. And once that happens, things really start to change for you because you started to change.
Absolutely.
And that's where the key starts.
That's the key.
Right? So what's your number, man? Don't be an overthinker. Don't be an overanalyzer, man. Move fast, move responsibly, move with vision, move with purpose, and things will start to happen for you. And you can actually do 3-4 things at one time if you are focused and driven and determined the right way, right? You got to focus. But when you get all the 15-20 things that you're trying to do all over the place,
then you become that jack of all trades, like I used to be, and a master of absolutely nothing.
So focus on the things that are going to bring you in the most bang for your buck right now, guys, and get your
circumstance. Yes, absolutely. I can't over your IG. Circumstances. Y'all write this down if y'all didn't catch it. Circumstances are born out of a consciousness that allows them to exist. That's powerful.
Absolutely. So Pam, close us out.
Yes, I just want to say again, thank you to everybody who jumped on this Freedom Friday where we've been free with a bottle of water today. All right. As I made a decision to stay focused, on my goals. But you know what? We just want to say again, thanks for tuning in to everybody who jumped on IG, everybody on Facebook, everybody on listening in on the grind. We appreciate each and every one of you. If you missed any part of this episode, go back, listen to it. We got hundreds of episodes from the very moment in which God gave Nate this vision on blogtalkradio.com/The Grind 101. Tune in. And we can't wait to see y'all back on Tuesday morning for another episode of The Grind at 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern Standard Time. Y'all be blessed, making an amazing weekend. And we'll see y'all next time. God bless y'all. We love you all. Thank you.
What used to do it for you last year isn't getting it anymore. What used to satisfy you last year isn't touching it anymore. What used to be comfortable and familiar doesn't feel easy anymore. It's starting to get heavy. It's starting to look like a distraction. You're not sure, but the feeling you have that some old habits might have to change. You're not sure, but you're starting to realize that how you spend your time might have to change. You're not really sure, but you're almost convinced that
Thank you, guys.
friends might have to go.
Yes, thank you.
That feeling, that's the beginning of one of the realest things there is in life. That's the beginning of a trip that will test you and pull you into parts of yourself you didn't even know existed. It's the beginning of a thing called growth. It's something we all need. It's a requirement for life, and all of us get at it in different ways. Growth
life going. It's the reason we arrive at a new year and everybody has a new resolution, something they want to add to get better at, something they want to grow. I'm going to get in shape. How many times have you heard that before? I'm going to discover my worth and treat myself better. How many times have you thought that before? But do you realize that within the first 2 weeks of making a New Year's resolution, 95% of the people who said they would, who committed to it, they break that resolution. 95%, that's high. Growth isn't easy. Growth is not a walk in the park. Growth is hard. It's not easy waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning to work out. It's difficult going back to school, trying to earn a degree you should have earned 11 years ago, holding down 3 gigs a job you can't afford to lose. It's difficult trying to confront all the issues of your past because you want something more for your future. Growth is change, and change is the one thing that terrifies as much as it excites. It's the one thing that is hoped for as much as it's despised. It's the one thing that people ask for and in the same breath reject. Change is inevitable. Change is terrifying, but change is all there is. Nobody gets to be 3 years old forever. People come, people go. You have today, you lose it tomorrow. Try all you want, but you can't stop it. It happens regardless. And that's it. The real hang-up. You have no control over it. And that's terrifying. You see, growth, that's the authentic, that's the spontaneous nature of growth. It just happens. And sometimes you don't feel prepared for it. You can feel something about to change, but you don't feel prepared. When you don't feel prepared, let me ask you this. What do you whisper to yourself? Can I really do this? Can I really divorce this person? Can I live without them? What have you told yourself because you didn't feel ready? I'm too old to go back to school. I've been doing this for 30 years. I can't change now. What do you believe because you don't feel you're ready? You don't feel you have what it takes. You may not know this, but growth is automatic. It's built into nature. And believe it or not, it actually has a formula. A mathematical formula that prescribes spontaneous, efficient growth. Nature's code. The golden section, the Fibonacci sequence. It's a growth pattern you see everywhere in nature. It's in plants. You cut a banana in half, and it's there. You see in snail shells. It even describes the way your hair grows. Cut up all your hair and watch it grow back. There's a spiral that forms the crown of your head that describes that growth.
See y'all later.
God bless y'all.
Growth is spontaneous. It happens by itself. It happens because it has to. It happens because it must. Your problem